Hello and welcome to Beyond the Blueprint. I'm your host, Jeff O'Donnell. Today I'm joined by Elisa Covington, founder and CEO of Transform Real Estate Investments and the Transform Flipper Academy. Elisa has scaled an incredible 8-figure house flipping business in the hyper-competitive Bay Area, managing up to 10 active projects at a time while working just 10 hours a week on the flipping side. Elisa, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, you're very welcome. So Elisa, let's go back 9 years. You were stuck in corporate 9 to 5, completely uninspired. You started house hacking your very first home with your now husband. What did that first DIY renovation teach you about what was actually possible?
It was a really tough renovation. Now we talk about it felt easy, but back then it was so challenging because
Hmm.
we were both working full time. So we only had the weekends to go to that property to do the work. And I had no renovation background. I had no clue how to even remove tiles or get the like carpet and rip out old cabinets. I had no experience in doing that. My husband
Right.
did have experience, but he didn't have the tools to do it. So we had to first purchase a bunch of expensive tools. And then it was also a condo building. So they had HOA and they had regulations. You're not allowed to make loud noises on the weekends, but
Oh, okay.
we were trying to demo the tiles
Right.
quietly. So, yeah, imagine that. It was
Yes.
a very challenging 2 months of time for us to gut everything and then put in new cabinets, new flooring, paint the entire house. It was call it a house, but it was actually a small condo, about 500 square feet, one bedroom,
Oh,
one
okay.
bath, but took us
Okay.
2 months.
Wow.
Yeah. It was a really interesting experience because from that, we learned a lot about, of course, for me, it was like how you actually get things done in the renovation business. But then
Right.
also a big lesson that I learned was when you can, you should hire professionals to do that work because for
Right.
us who are not professionals, who don't have the tools and don't have the time, it actually
Hmm.
took a lot longer because for
Right.
professionals to do that job, it probably would take a couple of weeks, but we took 2 months and we
Okay.
almost broke up because of the arguments and disagreements. It was difficult.
Right. Yeah, that would be a challenge for sure.
Hmm.
So shortly after you started flipping on the flipping side, you actually got laid off from your day job. How did that sudden shift force your mindset to transition from a side hustle flipper to building an 8-figure enterprise?
Yeah, that was a big wake up call because before I was laid off, I pretty much set my mind to work for that company until I retire. I wasn't really inspired or motivated by my job, but it was a plush tech job and I was paid pretty well. And that
Hmm.
was kind of my life goal growing up. I would go to good schools, get good grades, and then work for a Fortune 500 company until I retire. So that was like kind of my life trajectory. But
Right.
then I got laid off. That's when I realized that job security is such a myth. It's
Mm.
not like people sometimes believe in that. I believed in that, but
Right.
there was no such thing because the company can just lay you off anytime, right? They just the strategy shifts, the budget gets cut, and then your job is impacted. So that's when I decided that I don't want to work for anybody else ever again. I want to be my own boss. I want to take control of my own life. Not
Yeah.
going to ask for permission to take time off. So
Hmm.
that's how I decided to transition into flipping houses full time.
Right. And how was that when you first started doing it?
It was um interesting because from getting laid off, it's a very humiliating experience. It was probably
Yes.
the lowest point of my life
Hmm.
to trying to do something on my own, which is exciting, which is very new. So it was a cool like feeling to be able to do something on my own, but to start like not having like steady paycheck every month to
Yeah.
like have to build the business even though it's not from the ground up, but it was my business was very new and very small back then, so it took
Right.
a lot of work and also
Yeah.
took a lot of courage to do that because people
Absolutely.
are like I go out to meet people and they ask me, "Oh, how's it going?" And then I just got laid off, which was not the best news I'd like to share. And
Right.
then how's your house flipping business going? But like for many months, it wasn't really like I didn't have anything to show for. So that was a little challenging for quite a few months. I think after I start getting a consistent deal flow, it got easier, but the beginning was tough.
Right. Yeah. No, they never tell you how difficult it can be to start up a business, but it sure is.
Mm. It takes time. It's not overnight.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So most house flippers trap themselves by trying to act as the agent, the contractor, and the project manager. Why were you so determined from day one to build a hands-off system instead of just buying yourself another demanding job?
I think in the beginning, I was working a lot. I think like every entrepreneur knows that like when you are starting a business, it is demanding at first. Like you have to set up a system, you have to set up a team um, at first, and it
Hmm.
took a lot of work. But then I realized that as much I love flipping houses, I still love to have a personal life. I still want to spend time with my kids and my aging parents. So
Yeah.
it of course, I could maximize the profit. I could make a little more money from each deal if I do other people's jobs. If I become an agent to sell houses, to look for my own deals, and
Yeah.
also to become a general contractor so that I don't have to pay a GC to manage the projects. So
Right.
there's definitely a good chunk of profits that I'm kind of not focused on, but by paying that to somebody else, to a professional to do the work, I really find it so worth it because the money is something that you can always make more of, but the
Mm.
time with your family is not like you can have any time, right? Like
Right.
there's a
Hmm.
yeah.
That's such a
So
good point.
yeah, I think it's a big difference between me and many other house flippers and how I set up my business. But
Hmm.
I'm really thankful that I decided to go this direction kind of early on so that I have this work life balance and I'm never burnt out and I just love what I do. I can continue doing it because so many house flippers decide to get out of the business after a few years because they're too tired. They find this
Right.
to be more demanding than a W-2 job. So it kind of defeats the purpose of being your own boss.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I love your mindset there, and family to me is important and everything like that too. So I understand where you're coming from completely.
Hmm.
So your company specializes in turning the absolute worst properties on the block into designer homes. I hear you recently wrapped up a Victorian home that had a terrifying secret identity involving mutant superflies. What happened there, and what does it take to breathe life into a project like that?
Yeah, it was a quite interesting experience. So this was an over 100-year-old home, Victorian style home, as you mentioned. And when I bought it, I had no clue. what was waiting for me inside. So I just did a walkthrough as usual with my contractor, with my agent, trying to figure out the floor plan that's really functional for the house because it had two bathrooms, two full bathrooms, but both of them were inside bedrooms. So it was kind of um, unconventional because the guests would have to go inside the bedroom in order to use the bathroom. So we were trying to figure out how we can add a like half bath in the common area so that we can solve that issue.
Hmm.
So we spent quite some time there, and then we had I had some um, red bumps on my body all over, and I didn't know what those were. So I had to go to the hospital to check it out, and then realizing that it was actually flea bites. So we had to treat the fleas by like setting up some bombs. Like my agents took bombs to the house like twice,
Right.
and then the fleas were untouched. They they were still there, and then uh, yeah, we almost got bit again while filming the before video, and then we
Right.
had professional pest control company go out there. They did it one time, and then my GC was calling me, "Hey, you need to do something about this. My guys are bringing fleas to their homes." So we had to treat it second time. Still, like there were more fleas. My GC
Right.
almost like they're like, "Oh, we're not going inside the house until the fleas are gone." And then after the third time, the fleas finally were gone for good. So that was really interesting. Yeah, I think it was good that we were able to finally remediate that problem because that was quite an eyesore on the block, and all the neighbors were complaining about that house, and
Yeah.
it was a good feeling after it's done, not
Yeah.
during it.
And they had no idea what was inside either.
No, I think they may have some clue because the fleas were even like on the porch.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was like
Gotcha.
overgrowing, like a lot of vegetation in the front yard.
Yeah. Well, I love that story. That's quite a story for sure. So
Right.
here's a bit of a fun one, a magic wand question for you. You're
Mm-hmm.
managing close to 10 active flips while scaling the academy, and you've been battling the city since last August to legalize a single garage conversion. If I could hand you a magic wand to instantly automate and streamline your municipal permit prep and paperwork, what would that do for your 10-hour work week?
Um, I think in terms of the work, like how much work I do, um, we are like we have to deal with the city a lot because we get permits on all of our projects. We don't want to cut corners and we want to do things right.
Right.
But unfortunately, the permitting process has gotten worse and worse. It's more, it's taking longer. The process is getting more complicated. So if there's some way to make the permitting process easier, it definitely would reduce my workload, reduce my team's workload, and also turn around the projects faster.
Right. Yeah. So hopefully there is something out there that will do something like that for sure.
Right.
So
Yeah.
for anyone listening who wants to escape the rat race or apply to join the Transform Flipper Academy, where is the best place to find you?
So our website is transformflipperacademy.com, but I do understand that a lot of people are not ready to join a program to learn about it yet. So there are some free resources or very low cost resources. I have a YouTube channel called Transform Real Estate. That's where I share a lot of before and after videos and also home renovation, house flipping, or real estate investing tips and tricks. So
Hmm.
we have almost 90,000 subscribers.
Wow.
That's where like it's kind of my passion project. I've been
Hmm.
doing it since COVID. And
Very
then
nice.
I also wrote a book called Flipping Houses Quick Start Guide. You can find it on Amazon.
Very cool. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well,
Mhm.
that's all we have for this episode of Beyond the Blueprint. A huge thank you to Elisa Covington for sharing her expertise. It's been a true pleasure. I am your
Thank you
host,
so
Jeff
much for
O'Donnell.
having me.
You're very welcome. I'm your host, Jeff O'Donnell, and we hope to catch you on the next one.